welcome. We are going to go ahead and get started. Welcome, team. And I see Carla and Missy, you are also in here with us.
Hi,
Hi, Carla. Good to see you again.
thank you. Sorry, I had technical trouble. It threw me out and then I got back in it on my end. Sorry.
No worries. Glad to have you. You're going to get special treatment, you and Missy, because it's just you two in here. So before we really get started, I would love just to hear Carla and Missy, what is it that you're really looking to leave with today, or what support can we give you when we're talking about meeting the needs of our ELs in this crazy educational world right now, virtual and face-to-face teaching. So Carla, I'll start with you. What would you like to see?
Well, I guess I don't really know right now what to say. I am trying to get all of our testing finished, which is difficult to say the least. Just the lost links doing with the virtual students, that is the hardest thing right now. And I did not get a head start on it because I guess I didn't realize all of the things, I just thought I was testing the ones to be identified, and then we had several campuses that didn't get to do the TEL pass. And so anyway, that's just all I've been doing is testing.
Okay.
And so we hired a retired teacher to come and help us. And so just knowing, I guess I didn't really realize what I was, facing as far as a timeline, the 30-day timeline, until a couple of weeks ago. It woke me up.
And Carla, please know that TEA has been very open about if you cannot meet those 30 calendar days to
Right.
reclassify, just document why.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
Okay. Because in particular, you just want to do what's for do
Yes, I just wanted. I'm a by the book rule follower, and I just wanted to really get that done. But we're doing okay. We've got a couple of kids that are MIA. We've got one that moved to Mexico. She came in as a new student. I don't think she ever stepped foot in our district. And so when we tried to get her up, because I have heard, kind of the nightmares about the testing via Zoom, everybody's talking about how their kids are getting kicked off and everything. It's hard enough to do in person. It took us 2 hours yesterday at one of our campuses to get testing started because of all the block. We had a bunch of, I guess, websites blocked, and we were doing our, it was the grade band for 4 through 6. Or I don't even think 6 is a grade band. 4 and 5, isn't it? 4 and 5 the grade band. And anyway, we were testing those students in a group, and we had 2 of our technology people there and 2 teachers in there, and it was just very frustrating. But it took 2 hours to get the kids on to get tested. So anyway, that's just been one thing after another. So
and I've been hearing. Yes, and I've been hearing from LEAs about what a struggle and challenge it's been, not only to administer the lost links virtually, but the other challenge has been doing it face-to-face and having students come in. Parents are refusing; they don't want their student to come in. And so I've been encouraging those LEAs, just document and don't pressure them when they return to school. We can take care of that, and we'll just document why it was well beyond that timeline.
Yeah. So we're almost done.
Okay. So our time together today, I have Jessica in. Welcome, Jessica. Good to see you. And I just want to kind of touch base with everybody to see what we can do to support you. We do have a presentation for you, but I also want to be mindful of the needs that you have, and because there's so few of us in here, to be able to, if I can answer questions, I want to be able to do that. Jessica, what would you like to leave with today during this session? What could we help you with? Okay, Jessica, we'll come back to you. Missy, is there something specific that we can support you with today?
No, ma'am. I'm here just to listen. This is not something I'm usually involved in, but any little tidbits that I could pick up that would help that's what I'm doing here, especially with the kids that I serve as well. So I don't know enough to know what I want to ask for, but I'll know it when I hear it. How about that?
That is great. Yeah, feel free. Carla, Missy, we have a few other ESC team members in here, so welcome to you if you guys have anything to share. And so Carla, Missy, it looks like we have you guys. I think it's just you now, but because it's just us, that's even better. I can give you one-on-one support, and feel free to interject at any time and ask me questions, okay? So we'll go through our presentation then and share these resources with you. Also, because it's just you two in here and it's so easy, I can go to my report later and I'll send you a direct email. Even though this is in Canvas, I'll send a follow-up email. And as we talk today, if there are anything specific that we as a team share with you, we'll make sure that we include that in that follow-up email. All right, so welcome. This is our team, Gretchen Kroos. If you have not met Gretchen, she is our instructional coordinator. And then I am Melanie Yoakum, and Carla and I have gotten to know each other this year. And I am the ESSA team lead, but mainly focusing on bilingual ESL Title III. And so excited to introduce Gabriel Verone. He is our new team member. And Gabriel is coming to us from another area, but he is a former bilingual teacher, administrator, and a fluent Spanish speaker, which helps because mine is so rusty. So we're super excited to have Gabriel because we're going to be offering sessions in Spanish, and he is we're gonna have so many different new things coming out this year. And then our unofficial member is Elena Guerrero. She is a literacy coach, but we have worked closely together this last year, supporting our bilingual teachers, the Spanish spelling bee, excuse me. So we're excited to have Elena join us here today. And we have a few other team members from counseling and CTE. So ladies, if you see something and you want to interject, please do so. But what does it look like to support ELs in that virtual classroom? It's tricky. Maybe down the road, we can come back and say, this was the best way to do it. Right now, it's very hard because we're all learning, we're building that plane as we fly it. So here are a few things to consider when we're thinking about our virtual classrooms. Why should it be different from face-to-face? There are many reasons why we cannot do it the same as we are doing face-to-face. One of those is when we're doing face-to-face virtually. So we have a live Zoom, a live Microsoft Teams, Google Classroom. It really should be for active learning. It should be that we're in the moment, giving some on-demand, learning opportunities. What would that look like? It should be interactive, engaging. These are opportunities for the teacher to model. So just like we would do in the classroom, but even more so virtually, often we have to model and navigate and show the students where they need to go, where they need to click. And so modeling is very, very important. Also introducing that online assignment, introducing it, this is what we're going to do today, and this is how you're going to do it. Again, much like the I do, we do, you do, we're going to scaffold that. Virtual games. So right then in that live session, having a virtual game using Kahoot or Google Slides to create things. There's lots of things that we can do. Or providing questioning and feedback tools. So having using Mentimeter or Answer Garden, and there are many other tools out there. And then also allowing opportunities for structured conversation activities. The QSSR strategy, which is a question, it is a signal, it's a sentence stem. Then we, I said it's QSSA, excuse me, and then we assess. There are things like that we can still do virtually, but the virtual teacher has to be very structured in presenting what needs to happen. You really have to think through, what do I do normally? What am I going to have to do now? If you've not gone back to Lead Forward, or if you're not familiar with Lead Forward, they have great instructional strategies that you can use face-to-face, but now they have come out with a virtual playlist. And so here are lots of ways that virtual teachers or that can use strategies virtually, but also maybe I'm doing the hybrid approach. And so I have students in the classroom with me, but I have students attending virtually. Here's some good activities that you can engage in that virtual setting. Number two, online learning really should be for review, practice, and evidence of understanding. We don't want to be teaching new concepts without having some type of introduction. But if you say, well, Melanie, we're actually an asynchronous, that's what we're doing. But I would encourage your teachers to video themselves. So video themselves, giving a little mini lesson, modeling, and putting that in the platform. So you could put it in Google Classroom, Canvas, Seesaw, whatever you are utilizing for that asynchronous learning. But it really should be for these areas. We shouldn't be teaching new things in that setting, if all possible. So again, talking about the brief video lectures, just giving real brief snippets. I'll tell you as a parent, I found that very helpful with my third grader to be able to go back and watch a little video so then I as a parent could understand. Brief readings, content videos, and independent assignments with scaffolds based on proficiency levels. So our students, even if you have a mixture of EL, special education students, GT, whatever that population may be, are you looking at scaffolding for them? And you guys all know that even though a student may not be labeled EL, if I came and tested your entire campus, I bet we would find a lot of other students would be identified as English learners, even though they're technically not. So how are we scaffolding to meet those needs? Number three, content needs to be simplified and slowed down. We cannot expect to do exactly what we were doing in class. We cannot give students the bulk of content that we are doing face-to-face. They don't have the supports that they would in the classroom. So we really need to simplify that and slow it down for all students, but in particular our ELs. So something I like to say in my sessions is, yes, ESL strategies are best practices and they're good for all, but they're absolutely necessary for ELs. They have to have them. And so when you think about this, yes, all students, this should be applicable to, but it's absolutely necessary for your English learners. So larger amounts of content should not be covered. We shouldn't be trying to cover large amounts. A slower pace, looking at the big ideas. So if I have Unit 1 to cover, what are the big ideas in Unit 1 that we can talk about when we're learning virtually? What content is essential to move to the next grade level? Hopefully we're going to return back to a normal setting, but some students may not ever return back to the classroom. Maybe they're going to do virtual for an extended amount of time. So what do we really need to cover that's essential? What concepts can be transferred across the content? So thinking about skills that all students need, whether it's math, science, or social studies, and really focusing on those. Also focus on tech tools that are needed in all other classes. So thinking about, okay, I know that we're sharing, I've got a teacher that's doing math and science, I have a teacher that's doing ELA, and maybe social studies. What are we both doing that I can make sure that it's crossing up all my classes? So focusing on tools that are being used across the campus, across the district, the grade level, and so students are prepared. Instructions. This is very important. They should be easy to find and explicit. And again, I will go back to my own personal child. I'm working, they come in and they're asking me, I don't know what to do on this assignment, but it was so helpful because I could go back in their platform and I could find the instructions, whether it be a video or text that I could read and go, oh, okay, this is what we need to do. So a consistent location and time frame. We need to make sure that we are, wherever we're posting instructions, or we're going to give the whole week's agenda or daily agenda, that it's consistent. The parent, the student knows where to go every time. The time frame is the same on Monday morning or on Sunday night. You'll be able to find that. Explicit. I cannot speak enough to this. The instructions have to be explicit. And that means we may have to read them over and over to make sure, okay, if I were an English learner, would I know what to do? Video recording, another great way, just have teachers record themselves. Again, you've heard me mention this several times now, to record the instructions so a student could go back and watch it. It's helpful if you do it in YouTube, because if you do it in YouTube, the student can actually change the subtitles to their language. So if you have a newcomer that does read in their native language, that would be helpful. Or even the parent would be able to support their student by reading the subtitles. And then face-to-face. If you are providing face-to-face instruction, and then when I mean face-to-face, I mean like a Zoom meeting or, it's a video. That's what I mean by face-to-face. So I can meet with that student or students and I can answer any questions. So being readily available for your students. So ways teaching online should be the same though. So we've talked about the way it should be different, but now let's look at how it should be the same. So as an ESL teacher, and what I mean by ESL teacher is your teachers that are ESL certified, they are ESL teachers. They may not be an ESL specialist. They may not be doing the LPAC or pulling out students for support in ESL. But when you're ESL certified, you are technically the ESL teacher. So what are some things that we should look for? Well, in any classroom, effective needs a priority. It is absolutely the priority. And I will even face-to-face. When families teachers would call and be upset and, oh my gosh, I have this new student, they don't speak English, what do I do? My number one tip is always smile, make them feel welcome, and meet their effective needs, because students will not learn if they don't feel welcome. And especially with not being face-to-face, our facial expressions virtually are very important, because students don't know how to read our body language this way. They're used to seeing us in person. So it's very, very important. Also, when we think about our ELs, really plan on delivering sheltered instruction that is comprehensible, it's accessible, and it's repeated. It must be sequenced. So explicit language instruction. We cannot expect our ELs just to know the grammar is R or whatever it may be. We have to be very explicit. They don't just get it by reading or listening, to a book. They have to be able to be explicitly taught that and practice it. Also connecting prior knowledge and being mindful of the proficiency levels. So remember, we have beginner, intermediate, advanced, and advanced high, and being mindful of what am I assigning and where does it fall into what they're actually capable of doing at that point due to their proficiency level in English. Scaffolded, it must be modeled. We must have structured language support and task-based. Remember, skills cross over, all contents. So what can we do to help our EL, whether or not I'm the ESL, ELA teacher or not, what can I do to support that student in the other contents? Now, when you go back to their presentation later, you'll be able to actually click on this little video, this little image right here, and it's going to take you to the ESL checklist. And again, remembering if your teacher's at ESL certified, they are the ESL teacher, and that's just a great place to go and look at what is needed for our ELs in the classroom. Best practices. As I mentioned, yes, ESL best practices or strategies are best practices, but they're absolutely necessary for our ELs. So good teaching is good teaching, whether you're face-to-face or remote. Okay, so yes, some teachers are more comfortable teaching, most probably teachers are more comfortable teaching face-to-face, and like us presenting, we're much more comfortable face-to-face, but we've all had to shift to this virtual world, and but still we want to follow those good teaching strategies. Being clear and consistent in your communication, making sure that we're very, very consistent, we don't continue to change. Instructional strategies, continuing those instructional strategies. Even if we need to go back to Lead Forward and take a look at what are some of the things that they offer us in that virtual setting. And then deciding how we're going to engage our students. Are we going to use digital or non-digital activities? How are we going to do that? And for example, when we think about, okay, I am teaching online, but I have kids in my classroom too. Those kids can still mix and collaborate using Padlet, using Google Slides, even Google Classroom, Seesaw. There are multiple ways that we can still do what we we call turn and talk, or we can collaborate in groups. It shouldn't stop us just because I have kids in the room or I have students virtually. We could still mix, and it honors our social distancing as well as continuing that good collaboration. Students also, we want to make sure that they have that voice and choice in learning. So choice boards are great. It's a great way to, especially if you're asynchronous, to have a way for students to choose what they want to do, and as long as it's around your objective. So having a voice and choice in learning is very important for our students. Here's an image that I created just to kind of help when we first shut down and just trying to think about what does that look like in a virtual class. But remembering to start small, choose a home base. And most of you were already well down the road, so I'm sure you've already established these. But having one aid, like a video, a slide, or a read aloud, one collaboration tool, so maybe Flipgrid or Padlet, and then one experience or a reflection or using a Kahoot. We don't want to overwhelm the student. But also we want to build community and digital competency. So in this virtual world, it's very hard to build a community because we're not face-to-face. So what can we do in this setting to build that community? And if we're hybrid, what can we do to still engage our face-to-face students as well as our online? Also, communication with parents and students should be predictable and consistent. So I always knew that I would get an email from my students' teachers Sunday night, and I'm not telling you to work on the weekend, but just that I knew what to expect. Following the same routine each day and week. So knowing that we're going to do this, this, and this. And it's very helpful when you're a newcomer and you don't speak the language. If I don't speak the language, I still know the routine. Again, going back to that virtual face-to-face time should be for active learning and reminding us that content should be simplified, looking at the big ideas and slowing it down. And actually that bullet point is applicable when we are face-to-face as well. When you have newcomers, we cannot expect to cover all of the TEKS. We look at the big ideas and we focus on those. Again, instructions, we want them to be easy, defined and explicit. And our assignment should be bite-sized with multiple options to show understanding. So we can't think about, well, this is what I was going to do in the classroom, so now my online learners are going to do the exact same, we're gonna do the exact same thing. We cannot expect that. It should be bite-sized in this virtual setting. And then just a few tips, thinking through how would I have done this face-to-face? So if you're all virtual, how would I do it face-to-face and use the tools available to do it virtually? Make sure you include ways to read, write, and speak. So for example, when we present online, we all, kind of reflect on, had we been face-to-face, this is what I was going to do, but what tool can I use now to still accomplish the same goal? So here is an image where you can see there are lots of different ideas. This is not an exhaustive list, but it gives you some places to go to check out some different sites and tools that will help you accomplish teaching online. And then now we're going to share a few of the resources we have that you guys can utilize in your LEA to support your at-home learners. This right here is the EL section for pre-K through 5th grade and actually all the way through 12th. But you'll see there's different options. A lot of these options are really more for learners that have no technology at home. But I would share with you that many of these things could be shared with your teachers to accomplish teaching virtually as well. And we do have also some tools on translating. Well, here's the example. So here's one of the documents in there that teachers could utilize, but also parents. So this is Let's Practice English grades 3 through 5, give some tips for parents, allowing, talking to them about, you need to have your students stand up and stretch, like let them walk around the house or go outside, just giving them a few tips, but also sharing with them how you can translate documents so you can better support your student. And then here's a learning at home with no technology needed. So all the way from pre-K through 12 and even some more activities, here's some things that you can share, whether it be with your teachers or your families. Print this out, however you want to utilize it, but to help with learning at home when there's no technology needed for that. Here's a Let's Practice English with Pictures. This is the pre-K 5 one. And again, it's with no technology or we have technology. Here are some things that we can do. And this is really covering our reading, writing, and speaking opportunities. And so this is just another way to develop that language as well as helping students learn new concepts. Here's the document on how to translate. This is not an exhaustive list of ways to translate, but this gives families as well as teachers great tips on how to translate. Probably my favorite one is talking points. Talking points is free. And this is a great way to communicate with your families, whether it be you guys at the district level or at the campus level. This is a free way for teachers to send messages and have them translated into that home language for that student. Something that I would be mindful of is when you do share this is just because my home language survey states another language, it may not mean that I need any communication in another language. So just make sure that you know your audience and you know your families. We don't want to offend anyone. And this is another great resource that was developed by a teacher out in New Jersey, and she continues to grow this. I share this because this has so many different activities that can be done at home without technology, and it's been translated into, I want to say, probably almost 20 different languages, and I may be a little high on the number, but it was so many. So this is another tool that you can print out, or your teachers to just share and follow. So just another tool for you. I'm going to let Elena share a little bit about what resources we have that have been translated into Spanish that also address SLAR as well.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. So what you'll see in front of us is at the end of last spring, when we went to remote instruction, we developed several resources for teachers to use for at-home learning. And so these are still posted on our website. What we developed was components to support English and Spanish literacy. And so, and in addition to every other content area with English language supports, but the resources for literacy are developed for the Spanish language arts and for the English language arts. So if you're supporting teachers teaching in a bilingual setting, in a bilingual program, this will support you. The grade level bands were developed to serve grade levels kinder and first, second and third, and fourth and fifth. And so the topics discussed were timely for that end of the year scope and sequence alignment to TEK's resource system. However, all of the tools and resources developed are very broad, overarching skills that teachers can still pick and choose and take and use it more like a instructional guide as to how to develop your, like Melanie was saying, the gradual release approach to instruction. So if you click on one of those, and the next slide shows you a little of how it's formatted. Each of these modules is developed in a sequential manner where you begin by introducing the big overarching topic and then progressing through the document and allowing students to participate and to engage. And finally, at the end of the cycle, having some kind of an assessment or an activity. And so the good part about this is that these like we said, for reading, for literacy, they're developed for reading and writing, they're developed in English and in Spanish in the same document. And so if you have those teachers that are still or that are having to plan to teach either virtually or face-to-face, this could support them. The tools that are embedded are also available for printed materials. So if you have students that do not have access to digital resources, you can easily print. We've PDF several books and graphic organizers and just various methods of instructional tools for you to provide to your teachers. And if anything, it serves kind of a lesson planning guide in a way as they're developing their either synchronous or asynchronous instructional plans. So feel free to utilize those. They're still on our main website. They're also available to you for pre-K as well. And in Kinder and First, the resources for the resources to download are separate by language because that grade level band has the majority of the handouts and the resources. But in the other grade level bands, you'll see that they're together combined within the same document. So we hope that you find those useful. Feel free to reach out if your teachers have any questions or if you have any questions as to how to extend this or even how to address the current skills that you're working on currently at your district. So just let us know if you have any questions in regard to these documents.
Thank you, Elena.
Thank you, Melanie.
All right. Also, we have our 2021 fall sessions out between myself, Elena, and Gabriel. We have a lot of sessions for administrators, for bilingual teachers, for Spanish bilingual teachers, and ESL teachers. So this is our current fall sessions, and we'll be working on our spring. So lots and lots of different opportunities. I would highly encourage you to share with your ESL and bilingual teachers to join our Region 11 ESL Teacher Collaborative and our Region 11 Bilingual Teacher Collaborative. These were started when we shut down, and we did one from April through July, and we had a great turnout. I think we reached almost 600 teachers. I'm not sure if I have my number right, but it was amazing. The collaboration, we had teachers in our region come and present. So it wasn't just hearing from us, it was hearing from those of you out in the field, and we will continue doing those this year. And they will be separate. We've already had one for July, and we'll have another one in October for both ESL and bilingual, and then February, and then we'll be planning our next one in the spring. But because many of us are still in this situation of we have teachers teaching virtually, we do have our sessions that were recorded up on our YouTube channel. So if you go to ESC Region 11 English Learner Support, you can find our recordings there. And the April and May ones will be extremely helpful, as well as that July, just in particular because those are addressing virtual learning. But our June one will also be very helpful. We had Dr. Benavides come and share social emotional learning for our ELs, and so that's another one that you'll want to go back and watch and gain some ideas and just some clarity on where do we start and what do we do. And again, I know we're already deep into it, but what can we do to continue to refine how we are approaching learning in this setting?
Melanie, can you show me how to get there? I guess I didn't realize that y'all had a YouTube channel. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Well, I thought it was hyperlinked, but hold on. So let's go there real quick. So Carla, I've never searched for our YouTube channel, so I don't know exactly what you need to search, but we're going to try.
Or do you go from, that's what I was wondering, you go from your website, from your Region 11 website, is there a link?
Oh, yes, there is. Yeah,
oh, okay.
ESC Region 11 site. Yeah. So here's our ESC Region 11 site. And those of you on here that also deal with compliance, we have lots there for you. But when you scroll down to the bottom, Carla, here's our YouTube channel. Okay, so once you get in there, I think it does make you probably sign in. Let's see what it does. I don't know what it'll do because mine is already saved.
That is so small. I have missed that.
Well, I'm sorry. I'll see what I can do to make it larger. But here's our channel, and here are our playlist. And so you can see English Learner Professional Learning. That's where we're posting those recordings, but also other recordings are there. So I've attended quite a bit of PD through the shutdown. And so whenever I would attend those, they would give us the recordings, and I've put those there. So anything I come across, I put it there as well. Also digital tools. The Bitmoji craze was going on, and so I've posted some things there. Translation tools, English Learner Compliance, navigating platforms for ELs, lots of different things, learning English with music. So I won't go through all the playlists, but we have lots of different ones. And Carla, too, when we're thinking about addressing our parent, family, and community engagement requirements for Title III, we even have an EL parent support playlist, and that we'll continue to grow those areas. But this is just another place for 24/7 on-demand support for your staff. But lots of different places to go to. Even within our Region 11 site, there is a tab there for instructional learning. And as we too grow in this new endeavor, we will continue to add more resources for that remote learning, because us too, we're still learning on what does that look like? What do you guys need? And so, we will refine and continue to find ways to better support you. But I'm going to go ahead and stop talking and allow those of you that are on here with us today, if there are any questions that you have, whether it be compliance or instruction, we are here. I have a team of other people. We have Jackie Fagan here from Charter Schools, Lisa Harrison from CTE, and of course, Sandy Benavidez from our counseling. So if there's anything that we can do to address any of those areas, then we are here to support you.
I guess one thing that I know that is upcoming, I guess it was November 1st that I learned last Friday, is the report that we have to do if we're a waiver report,
Yes.
compliance waiver, if we don't have all of our teachers in place or whatever. Where would we find like an old one from last year? Because they said the new one's not out yet, right? Is that what they were saying?
So when you go, I'm going to escape and show you, okay? So when you go to, hold on real quick, let me move all these tables around here. When you go to our site, Carla, and I'm just taking you here because it's for me, I put everything here because it's just a kind of a one-stop shop. But when you scroll down, you're going to find the bilingual education exceptions and ESL waivers. And when you go there, you can see the resources, the FAQ, which is a very helpful tool, as well as the bilingual education exception scenario chain. It is from 1920, but you do want to look at that because there may be a situation where you don't have to file an exception. And then there's the ESL waiver scenario chain, which usually tends to be the one that is most utilized because of we just have more teachers, in that scenario. But you can see there's also a calculator for secondary, as well as what's allowable use of your BEA funds for the PD when you do have to file one. But I'm going to take you right here and show you their resources on TEA. And when you scroll down, let's see if they still have the application. Okay, they don't. So I thought that they would still have that application there. But Carla, when you go here and you look through these resources, some of your questions may be answered, but just know they're going to, when you submit that, they're going to, you don't submit teacher names, okay? You're only submitting the
like the number of students and the
yes.
number of teachers that we have.
The number of
doing, correct?
Yes. And what you're going to do about it. Yes. And so, I guess I lost my stuff. Yes, ma'am. So that whenever you go and you complete that, you're not submitting their names, but you want to keep them locally. But I'm happy to help you with that when it does come time, in between now and then, because you want to have it submitted on or before November 1st. And we can just talk through scenarios, because sometimes I'm able to brainstorm with district leaders on what are some ways that we can still fulfill that minimum requirement without filing a waiver or an exception, just creative ways to, still meet the requirement, but something maybe you just haven't thought of. So, always feel free to call and we can talk through the scenario.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, what other questions can we answer as a team? Okay. Well, I am going to go back, see if I can go back to my slideshow because I lost it there. I guess I clicked on it and took it away. But I want to leave our contact information up so that way you can reach out to us if you need anything. And if there's an opportunity where you would like to have your virtual teacher or teachers, collaborate with us, then please, feel free to reach out to us and let's see if that's something that we are able to virtually do, just to kind of help coach your teacher through this unusual time. But I'm going to get down to my last slide and leave it there so you know how to get a hold of me. And in return, I can, if it's something that I can't help you with, we have a team of people who will be able to help you. Any other things? So Elena, Gabriel, before we depart, are there any other things that you would like to add to our morning?
No, thank you, Carla and Missy, and our colleagues for joining us. And we, as Melanie mentioned in her follow-up, she'll also include our professional development flyers that we have coming up, because we're still offering professional development remotely. So your teachers feel free to join if you are implementing a biliteracy instructional model. We have a series coming up for that. And so just be looking for those dates. And Gabriel will share with you what he is offering this fall. And we're just so excited. Let us know how we can serve you.
Alina, I have one question. When do you normally do the spelling bee, the Spanish spelling bee? What month?
So Melanie and I were in talks with this, and we're actually going to meet in a couple of weeks. We're still deciding on providing that remotely and having that virtual opportunity for our students. Last year, we did it in early spring, kind of aligning to the National Spelling Bee timeframe. So we're thinking about following the same timeline, but Melanie and I and Gabriel are going to meet soon to finalize those details. We're just, we were wanting to let time pass and ensure how we could get the most participation, because we understand that students being at home may not enable them the opportunity to learn and to practice. And so we've kind of just been on a holding pattern just to ensure that we get more students involved than we did last year, which was already a huge success.
Yes, last year was amazing. We had almost 50 students that participated, over 15 districts that joined us, and it was really a great turnout for the first time for it to ever happen. But like Elena said, we have to get permission here. What does it look like in the spring for the service center? Are we allowed to have students on site? If we aren't, what are the requirements for doing this virtually? Is it allowable? So not only that, we know all of you are stressed right now, and this is probably the last thing that you're thinking about is doing that. And so we were trying just to let everybody get comfortable before we talk about that. But we will be sharing that, Carla, and be watching for communication from me. I know you're on my list, in my email group, and then I'll share in the directors meeting as well. So be watching for that.
What grades again participated in the bee?
3rd through 5th.
Okay.
And it was a mix. So a 3rd grader actually won last year against
so a 3rd grader could compete against a 5th grader from another school.
And they won. Our 3rd grader won. So yes, we did it that way. And it may, over time, that may change. It may be that we do it by grade level, but at this point in time, that's really, we're going to stick to that. And we'll refine it over the years, based on what we can do and what staff we have to help. But yeah, so it should be a very exciding year.
Well, I for sure want Alvarado to participate. I did not know about it last year. Of course, I was a campus principal, but I had my own, I was in my own little bubble then. So
right. Well, we're excited. Yay. All right. Gabriel, is there anything that you would like to share? Because I know you've got some upcoming sessions as well. Feel free to unmute yourself and share.
I would. I just didn't want to step on anyone's toes as there were questions and whatnot. So very briefly, Melanie did a great job kind of giving you the view from 10,000 feet and really giving you a nice overview. And so I've made it my goal with really bite-sized, about hour-long PDs after school primarily, so they're accessible to as many teachers as possible, to give you a very specific high leverage strategy paired with a very specific digital tool that allows you to kind of bring to life the things that Melanie outlined. So that's the flyer that'll be shared with you. I also have a bilingual professional learning s'more that I recently started that is out now, that is specifically looking at providing tools for those teachers in a bilingual setting. And then once my sessions are approved, there will be further sessions in November and into early December as well. So be looking for those. And similarly, we are here to support you. I'm super happy to be a part of this team that I recently joined. And yeah, we look forward to offering as much support as we possibly can. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Gabriel. Yes, so between Gabriel and Elena, we have your bilingual teachers covered. Elena will be offering a biliteracy series this fall, and we will just continue to add. Now that I have an official team member with me, Gabriel, we plan on really, offering what we can. And I feel very strongly about offering sessions in Spanish because our teachers, they need to hear that academic Spanish. And so we're excited about offering that. Gabriel has a s'more. I know Elena does a literacy s'more. You can see at the bottom, I have an EL Leader Toolkit s'more. That is a need to know at that month. What do you need to be doing, as well as where you can reach those go to those resources. And then I have a Succeeding in a Diverse Classroom s'more that is starting its 4th year. I started it when I was in another group here at the Service Center, and that provides instructional strategies for all students. I tend obviously to lean towards ELs because that is my passion and obviously my position now, but the things that are presented there can be helpful to any diverse learner in the classroom. So if you would like to join either one of those s'mores, or even mine, Elena, or Gabriel, you can email me and say, Melanie, I want to join all of them, or I want to do this. And I will make sure, if they are not my s'mores, that I share your email with them so they can add you to that email group so it goes right into your inbox. If you would prefer, you can also just go to social media. We tweet these out. We put them on the ESC Region 11 Facebook page, and so those can be found there as well. But so we have Twitter, we have Facebook now, and YouTube. But all of you that are here today, even our ESC staff, I will send all of you an email with this presentation, with our flyers, with links, everything I can think of. If you get the email and you say, Melanie, you missed something, just email me and I will make sure that I get that resource to you that maybe I mentioned but failed to put in the email. But I don't want to belabor our time together, but I want to be here to support you. So we will hang around if you want to ask questions, or otherwise, we are done. So thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time and choosing to spend this part of your morning with us. And please do not hesitate to reach out and let us know how we can support you through these hard times.
Melanie, can I make a comment? First off, thank you. Your presentation was made because I work with you every day, and I wrote down multiple things that were some stuff that I was not aware of, like the YouTube video, thinking about changing it because some of that stuff that's going to help. But one of the things I wanted to encourage our district people, your CTE teachers, they most often come to the classroom with no formal educational background. And so teaching ELs is one of the things that's very scary for them. But in addition to that, what I push very hard when I meet with our staff is that technical language in CTE is a foreign language to all of your students. And so that's one of the reasons that EL students tend to be drawn to CTE classes, because they're a little bit more on a level playing field with their classmates, because they're all having to learn some new things. And so, they have that little bit higher level of comfort. The courses tend to be more skill oriented, and so they also can have higher success there. So we see a lot of EL students in CTE, but these strategies will be beneficial for 100% of your CTE students. And for teachers who come to the classroom without the pedagogy background to know how to reach students, if they could capture these skills and use them with all of their students, they will find so much success. So these are trainings you might want to be recommending for your CTE teachers, not just for your teachers that are your EL teachers or ESL certified, because very seldom are your CTE teachers ESL certified, but they need these supports more than probably almost anybody. And so thanks so much, ladies.
Yes, thanks, Lisa. That's very true. Just coming from the district level and working alongside other district level leaders like Lisa was in her district, the CTE area. I was supposed to say charter schools, but I was thinking, sorry, but CTE, yes. I mean, that often we would get a lot of phone calls and what do? I have a newcomer in here and this is the engineering class or whatever it may be. And it is a struggle. So yes, please, if anything, just encourage them to go and look at some of the YouTube videos we have, as though if they don't feel like that they can attend PD, just another way to be aware, or follow us on social media. I used to tell my teachers when I was still in district, it's free PD. It's 24/7 on demand, free PD. I learn most of the things that I share, I've learned on Twitter. I've come across them on Facebook. So those are great places, to go and learn more. All right. Anything else that we can do? Okay. Well, thank you again. Thanks everyone for joining us, and be watching for a follow-up email from me with all of the resources. And Carla, Missy, don't hesitate to reach out to me and let us know, or any of us, and let us know what we can do to support you, because that's what we're here for. So please let us know what we can do to help you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie.
Yes.